I had the mentality of learning from other people, and I think it helped me in lots of ways, but you do have to make your own mistakes to understand yourself in the world. It just, you do.
Hello, and welcome to The Squeeze.
Welcome to The Squeeze. Happy Wednesday, everyone.
You have two Taylor Lautners and a dog here, if you're watching on the U of the tube.
We need to get Lily up here more.
Yeah.
She just doesn't. Oh, speaking of Lily, she literally barked as I said Lily.
Yeah. Her
It's okay,
ears were ringing. Rem, come here, baby. Come here.
She's like, but my sissy.
Come here, honey.
My sister's barking.
Come on, come snuggle. How is it going, everyone? Oh, that's amazing.
We love to hear it.
Fantastic.
We love to hear it.
Juicy. I love that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. I can't hear what you guys are saying. But whatever it is, I'm sure it's great, and I hope your week is going well so far. We really appreciate you tuning in today.
She's moving the mic with her toy.
And supporting this little podcast.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I feel like recently we've just been like flooded with very sweet messages and comments, and there's a lot of new people listening to the podcast. So if you're a new Lemon Drop, welcome to the community.
Yeah, super exciting.
But it's just so fun. You know, I kind of mentioned it on my story a little bit ago that this podcast is my baby, and it's so fun that, you know, you and I get to do it together, but also just that we're able to just be able to reach so many people, and so many people relate to, you know, what we're going through, what our guests are going through, and it's been able to help us and help our listeners. So it's just, I'm just a happy lemon drop.
Yeah.
We're lemon drops too, right?
Why not? Yeah. We're all lemon drops.
Yeah. All just lemon drops living in this lemon world.
Yeah. All drops of lemons.
If you are watching on YouTube, also, you may see like the trees behind us. They may be moving a little. Do not worry. There is no earthquake or anything happening. There's a fan blowing in here because the heat, our AC is a little
scorching.
It's a little warm. So we have a fan blowing in here. So if you see some movement, there's not a ghost. There's not an earthquake.
No need to worry.
No need to worry.
Okay, let's dive in. Because why not, right?
Yeah.
Because we have an exciting episode.
Yes.
And I do, before we get started, just want to point out that we filmed this episode weeks ago, before the SAG strike. I am an actor, and our guest today, Sasha Pieterse, is an actress. We do mention a couple projects that she's been in. We definitely in no way are promoting them. They're old projects, but just wanted to give some context before we dive into everything.
Yeah.
But if you know Sasha at all, and if you know anything that
the Ice Princess
I've been in, we have worked together before a long time, many moons ago.
Yes, I was very excited about this because, as we talked about in the episode, the Ice Princess is my favorite character in Shark Boy and Llama Girl.
Yes.
So I was very excited to have the Ice Princess on.
Yeah. When we filmed Shark Boy and Llama Girl, we'll dive into this in the interview, but I was 12 and Sasha was 8. So it is just so cool. Just people ask me all the time, like, what's your favorite part about the industry? What's your favorite part about making movies? And honestly, my answer has always been, and I think will always be, just meeting people and making friendships, relationships that truly, some of them last a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I got some life to go, but it's been 19 years since Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Wow.
And me and Sasha are still friends.
I don't know if you just aged yourself or me.
It is, yeah, either way, it is crazy. But yeah, my family is good friends with Sasha's family. She is awesome. Just love everything that she's doing today. And we were just super honored to have her on. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Anything else you want to say before we dive in with Miss Sasha?
Yeah, I feel like it's a very impactful episode. She's been through a lot in her life, health wise. She's a mom, so just a lot of insight on her journey. You know, being a mother, having PCOS, lots of her interpretation and kind of her upbringing in the spotlight and how it's been for her in the industry, because we've had so many people on and everyone's like story and how they view the industry is so different.
Yeah.
So it was fun to get to hear that. But she's been through a lot of life and she is just awesome and she's doing great things. So it's fun. I
Yeah.
really like her.
And just so much like there's a lot of relatable
Yeah.
content today.
Yeah.
Which is always exciting.
Yeah.
She talks about, many things that I'm sure a number of people out there can relate to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So without further ado,
I was going to say that exact same thing.
let's jump in.
Ice Princess time.
All right. We have a very exciting guest with us this week. Somebody who I have known since I was 11 or 12.
11.
And we filmed a little movie in Austin, Texas called The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And we have with us the Ice Princess herself.
Oh my goodness.
Sasha. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. This is so fun. And yeah, it's wild. I think you were 11 or 12.
And were you?
I was
8?
8. I was 8 or 9, I think.
That is so
When did we
crazy.
film? I might have just turned 9.
Okay.
But maybe not. I could have still been 8.
Wow.
Time flies.
I don't understand how you guys do that. Like, how do kid actors, like, how do they, like, what was I doing at 8? Like, picking my nose or something? Like, how do you, like, professionally work like that? I just thought of that as we're sitting here.
Oh my gosh.
I think, honestly, I don't know what it is for you, Taylor, but for me, I feel like it's, when you're that little, it's also kind of like dress up. You're like, you're putting on a character and the whole experience is so fun. And I started at 3.5.
Wow.
And so I think you just kind of like, you get into that world and I've always been fascinated about how every department works. So I feel like that's part of it too. I've just kind of grown up in it and everything's exciting. I mean, I still feel that way. Every time I get on set, I get, excited to learn more.
I didn't realize you started that young. What did you do before Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Oh, I had an office job. The first thing I did, so we immigrated from South Africa to the States, and we immigrated to Nevada actually because my parents were dancers. A lot of there, which I have to be really specific now. Sorry, Taylor, you know that. I was just surrounded by dancers and people in the entertainment industry because my mom and my dad. And so their son, who was fairly young, was also an actor. And she made the suggestion that we send over, a picture or two to their agent and just see, it's kind of like who knows, maybe she'll have fun, maybe she won't. Might as well try for fun. And I loved it. The first audition I went out for was a commercial. It was a Lexus commercial. I got it.
Wow.
And which is, we all know how rare that is. Yeah. But all I did was sleep. It was one of their Christmas commercials, and my whole job was to just sleep in bed while snow fell outside the window, which was really cute. But I just loved it from there. I got my first TV show when I was 5. We were up against Friends, which was comical because, that was just a losing battle, but it was a great experience. It was a great experience. And then I just got the bug for that sort of thing rather than just, print commercials. But
oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever dance?
Ever since. They tried.
They tried.
They wanted me to get into. They did. They tried. I hated it. I love watching it. I hate it. I can, I got rhythm. I have, can pull out like a repertoire of certain things, but actually, I can keep up. High school dances were great. But I couldn't, it's not my thing it was not my thing.
That's so funny. For those diehard Shark Boy and Lava Girl fans out there, because it's so crazy. Like that movie just doesn't go away. It's insane.
It just won't.
For those fans out there,
I'm kidding.
When you think about filming that, is there anything like what comes to mind? Is there any like specific memories or anything filming that just pops to the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, I had so much fun on set. That was such a cool experience. Just in general, filming, starting to film on a green screen, that was pretty new back then too. That was fun, but I have a lot of memories of our school trailer because I was homeschooled. So it was like, I'm doing schoolwork with other kids. It was like a new experience. I remember that being really fun.
I feel like
Bonnie was teacher.
Bonnie, right?
That's
my
so
gosh.
funny.
So funny.
Oh
she
my
was our
gosh.
school teacher.
Yeah,
it's true because you do as a child actor, you have to get, what is it, 3 hours a day on set in the school trailer. And you can bank up hours, which is very helpful. So if you get like 4 hours one day, then you have that banked for the week and you can like use that on a busy filming day. But it's true. Yeah. I mean, like felt like half of our time was on set and half was in the school trailer.
Oh,
like,
wow.
all together.
And that's where you learned Pass the Pigs?
I think so. Do you remember Pass the Pigs at all?
I do not, but I do remember Dave and Buster's.
Okay.
We do that a couple times there.
Dave and Buster's as well. But our school teacher, Bonnie, she introduced me to this game called Pass the Pigs. And there's these 2 little rubber pigs, and you roll them. And depending on how they land, you get points for how they land. And I still to this day introduce this game to all of my friends. And I'm very passionate about it. Like when we play, I'm like, yep, that's a double snouter. That's 40 points. And it's just a hysterical game. But yeah, I think I learned.
I don't remember that at all.
On set.
But I believe you.
Okay,
I don't know if you feel this way just about Shark Boy and Lava Girl in general, but I am politely appalled by the age of people that recognize me from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
You're right.
It like catches me off guard. I'm like, oh no, you're like 25 and a man. Please, that was your childhood?
Yeah.
It's so weird to me.
I know. It's
so weird.
It's scary.
It is quite scary how fast time flies. And I know we were both really young when we filmed it, but I think that we see it as a kid's movie. So when it's like a full grown adult that remembers that from their childhood, it's just kind of like a brain.
I know, but it is amazing that, like, yes, I definitely get like the 25, 30-year-olds that love it or loved it.
Yeah.
But you still
love,
do get...
Still love, not
still
love.
I still...
Sorry.
Yeah.
But you do get like the 5-year-olds as well. Like it's still playing somewhere for these kids today to see it. It's
I remember when I first moved out. Yeah, when I first moved out, our like new neighbors, their kids had the previous year dressed up as Shark Boy and Lava Girl. So when I moved in, they're like, oh, "It's Shark Boy," or it's Lava, or wow, it's the Ice Princess from Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I was like, oh, that's so weird, but so cute. I mean, it's I don't know if you feel this way too, but I feel like it's gotten it's better when it wasn't in 3D. Our 3D for whatever reason was so dark. It was so weird in the theater, and so without it, it was better.
Yeah.
I watched it with Hendrix, my son.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 6 months or so now ago. And he, I mean, obviously had no idea that it was me, but it kept his attention for quite a while, which was good.
Oh my
But
gosh.
funny.
Yeah, the
Cool
3D
to have
was...
something that he can watch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he...
He can't watch anything else.
How old is he right now?
He is 2.5. He'll be 3 in November,
Okay.
so a little over 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A little early for movie watching and processing, but
yeah.
Hey, Shark Boy and Love
He's
Girls.
got a great attention span. I will say, like he does. He's got, his favorites. Like he'll sit through movies, which is pretty impressive. We haven't taken him to the theater yet, but he's really into like his characters. He likes all the songs and the dances, and he does it all. He's like everything from like playing in the dirt to like singing. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I did just like find out as we were doing research for the episode how young you were when PLL first started, which blows my... What were you, 12, 13? How old were you?
I was 12 when I did the pilot. I was 13 when we did the first season, and I graduated when I was right before my 14th birthday to be able to work as an adult because everybody else was. So that was our initial struggle. Was the fact that my hours were limited. Yeah. So as soon as I graduated, I could work as an adult, and it was fine. And
That's just like so crazy because like me and my like dance girlfriends, like was it every like Tuesday night or something?
We would do parties.
We would do watch parties every Tuesday night after dance. We'd go, like half of us would go pick up like a gluten-free pizza from Whole Foods, and then the other ones would go get it set up at someone's house, and we would all watch.
Oh my.
Yeah, we did. So then when I found that out, we're only a year apart. So I was like, wait.
Yeah.
What?
I think what I'm learning right now is you're actually Sasha's biggest fan.
I mean,
because
probably.
Ice Princess was
my
your
favorite character.
Really?
And you're a diehard PLL watch party girl.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you freaking out right now?
I'm doing all right. Keeping it contained.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. Summer is officially here, and I'm so excited. But if your wardrobe is anything like mine, it is in need of an upgrade. And instead of having flimsy, fast fashion clothes, I like to spend my money wisely on high quality essentials that are going to last me even past the summer season. That's why I love shopping at Quince. It is a spot for luxury without paying luxury prices, which we all love. They also have home items, which I love home decor, so I'm very excited about that. I just ordered some European linen curtains that I am so excited to get, but I highly recommend you guys go ahead and check them out. You can upgrade your closet this summer with Quince right now. Go to quince.com/thesqueeze to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/thesqueeze for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/thesqueeze.
I have something I'm curious about because I mean, I definitely went through this, and it wasn't the easiest for me. When you start so young and it goes well, like right off the bat, like you literally just said you got the job for your first audition. Like, I also started young, and like it went pretty well, which, isn't normal. It usually takes a lot of no's to get your first yes. But after starting young and so successful, it's just inevitable to hit like some sort of dry spell and start hearing the no's and start getting the rejection that you like weren't used to. Did you go through a phase of that at all? And how was dealing with no's and rejection, especially for somebody, so young?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's challenging times, and I think my parents were really good about establishing the fact that I am going to get a lot of no's. I remember my mom from pretty early being like, as soon as you're done with this audition, forget about it. Yeah. Don't dwell on anything. And that was really important. But when I was 11-ish. No, I was probably ready. I think it all happened in the same year. So I think I was 12. I got a pilot, or I got a show, and it was a really big deal. And we were also excited about it. It was a comedy. It was a live comedy. We had done all these rehearsals. I got welcomed onto the lot, and I had my own room, and you do all the fittings, and you're prepping, and it's coming up. And a week before we actually started, I got replaced.
Wow.
And, it's one of those things where we had done all the celebrating.
Yeah.
All of our close family and friends knew about it. We'd, done the dinner. We had, we'd been prepping for all of the things to come. And so that was a really hard blow. I'm glad it happened when I was younger, actually, because I think it would have been much harder as an adult. Like if that were to happen now, not to say that it can't happen again, but if that were to happen now, I've got a family and I've got a kid and I've got this, like the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
At that time, of course, I'm young, I'm emotional. I've got, I'm not fully developed in my brain. Like, of course it was hard. But I didn't quite understand it. We didn't get a real reason. That year was so intense with pilot season. And the girl that got it was one of the three of us that were testing for it. So they replaced me with her. Wow, sorry. And yeah, it sucked. I had even done all this press for it. Like it was, we had done it all.
What the hell? It's crazy.
Yeah. And then the next thing I went out for was Pretty Little Liars, and I got it.
Wow. Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason. That show, I didn't wish any ill will on any of the people there, but it got canceled after the first season.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere, and it's just one of those crazy like life splits.
Yeah.
But it taught me a lot of lessons, because I also was afraid to celebrate things for a while. It's like, well, it's not real until you're like, you're there. And so that is kind of the pendulum swings. You got to like find that balance.
Yeah.
But Pretty Little Liars in general, and everything I did while I was on the show, I think the most difficult part about it wasn't the fact that it was so successful. That was obviously lovely, but what came with that was the fact that my entire childhood at that point was documented. So it was from 12 to 19. It was so many firsts. I started at 12. I graduated high school. I moved out. I got engaged. I was planning my wedding all in that time, and I was battling a lot of health issues in between that. And so it's just one of those crazy times in your life where I had such a good experience, but at the same time, it was very intense for those 7 years. Yeah. And we were filming 24 episodes a season. So it really was a solid 9 months, 16, 17-hour days, splits all week. So you start really early and you end, you have your Fridays, you end really late at night. And it was all consuming. And thank God we had so many amazing people, like our crew. I mean, I can count on my hands the amount of people that actually changed in those 7 years. So, weddings, funerals, babies, we did it all together. And it's a unique experience, and I'm so thankful for it. But as far as what you were saying, Taylor, like it's really intense to learn and grow and understand yourself when everybody else is hyperanalyzing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my character was so like specific and mean, which I loved. It was so fun. And that arc was really interesting and fun to do, but it is like it's contrast, because it's that character is so specific that people want you to be and look and do things a certain way, especially since it was a book. Even though we deviated from it quite a bit, it was still, that idea of that character was very, very, I don't know, nuanced. So yeah, it was a lot.
Did you ever get to a point where you were like, I need a break? Like, I want to step back and I need to just take a break from it all?
No.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, as far as mental health goes, I had some lows. But I think I think at the end of the day, I always put like the work first because that's what I enjoyed. I don't like all of the other bullshit that goes along with business. Sorry, I don't know.
You're all good.
You're good.
That was always like the frustrating part. Like I don't like kissing butts. I don't like doing any of that. And so when I was working, I was my happiest. Like being on set, being around crew, being around people, doing my job, that was my love. And so I never wanted to take a break from that.
Yeah.
And my closest friends weren't in the industry. And that was the biggest, like the best part of it. When I clocked in and I clocked out. When I went home, I was surrounded by people that were, people that I'd known for decades and that knew me outside of the industry. And that was my little bubble. And I don't think that I would be the same person today if that wasn't the case. If I had surrounded myself with more people in the industry, no offense to that community, but it breeds a different type of mentality. And I didn't want to get stuck in that. I didn't want to date an actor. I didn't want to, I didn't want to climb the ladder in that way either. Again, no disrespect for the people that do, and it's important. And I was actually just thinking about this the other day that like, it's interesting that choice. And I don't judge anybody for doing it. But it's this interesting split again, where because I didn't follow a lot of those paths, I did myself a disservice in my career in some ways. Because those relationships and those things, those people that you brush shoulders with take you to the next things.
Yeah.
And I had this whole mentality of professionalism and what my idea of that was. And it's interesting always that the loudest people get paid more attention to versus the people that are like actually doing their job and are efficient. So it's such a curious industry, and so many industries are like this that have similarities. And it's just kind of something that you got to navigate. But I was navigating it as a kid for a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, I really respect the way that you did handle it. And I think that is, I mean, you put your life, in front of and gave it more importance than getting the next job. And I think that's, why you turned out the way you do, and you have an incredible husband and a beautiful family. And it's just, I mean, with when you think about any job, it's no offense to the entertainment industry, but because any job, you go to work, you do your work, you come home, and your work doesn't bleed into your home life. It's just, those are two separate things. And I think where it can become dangerous is when you do, like your work becomes your personal life too. And I certainly made that mistake multiple times, and I think it took its toll. But I think the way that you did it was very, very wise. And I mean, it shows today.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I just want to say, it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Both routes are very hard to do. It takes a lot of, it's purposeful.
Yeah.
You got to keep yourself in check, it's just like, you're right. It is a weird thing that and I feel like this is the same thing for influencers now. Where I will be the first one to admit that when influencers started becoming, getting really famous, I was like, oh, it's unfair. But really the reality, I really respect influencers, because at the end of the day, that is their life. Their job doesn't shut off, just like ours does, right? You're constantly planning, you're constantly prepping, you're constantly looking at analytics. You are your business, just like actors are, just like artists are in general. Yeah. It's like and to treat that's where I feel like mental health comes into play too. It's like, to keep that up, to keep your mental health up, to keep your physical wellness up. Self-care is so important for both just your soul and your life. But also because you kind of got to treat yourself like a business.
Yeah.
Which is, again, most people don't have to do that. They clock in, they clock out, and that's that. And they go back to their families. or at least hopefully doesn't bleed into their home life if it's a negative thing. But you are your business at the end of the day. And so like your livelihood is based on conditioning yourself, essentially.
Yeah. That's a really interesting way to think about it. It's so true.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so profound. I just love that, like, I love how each person in the industry, like, can have different experiences.
For sure.
Like, I know some people that are like you and like, no, like, it's great. I love, like, I never needed a break. Like, I was able to set these things in place. I love what I do. I never stopped. And then there's people like that were child stars and it was just a horrible experience and they absolutely hate the industry and will never go back. And like, it's just like, there's such a broad
very
spectrum.
Different paths to go down. Yeah.
I love hearing.
Yeah. And I mean, for sure. Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, go
but,
ahead.
and I will say that that's definitely based on experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's definitely based on individual personal experiences with, you know, how you're raised, the people you come in contact with, the jobs that you get, the fame level, all of those things play such big parts to that. And I think a lot of, and I don't know if you feel this way, Taylor, but like, I know a lot of child stars that I know feel like they missed out on their childhood.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I never felt that way. And I don't know if it's just because of my circumstance. Like I was an only child, you know, I was homeschooled anyway. I always had older friends. I never actually related to people my own age. And so like all the steps that I was taking, were very true to myself and what I loved. And so I don't feel like I was like taken out of that.
Yeah.
But I totally am like, I have so much empathy for and compassion for the people that feel that was taken away from them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, people have so many terrible experiences in the business and it's never surprising.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm with you. I never felt like I lost any of my childhood, and I really loved my childhood memories in the industry, out of the industry, whatever. The part for me that I feel like I missed out on a bit was my young adult life. That feeling is what caused me to, you know, want to take a step back and get a little bit of that back.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. And I mean, you had just such like but had at that point such a close magnifying glass on everything that you were doing. And I think that's also, you have like so much pressure to not mess up. I'm trying really hard not to swear. I've like such a bad body now. It's really bad.
You are more than welcome to if you would like. So
I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to be really good about it. I feel like I can do it.
You're doing
I've
very well.
already messed it up once, but
very hard not to mess up. Yep.
But I think that truly is what it is. Is like we almost feel the pressure to set an example, or just you know, be so quiet about what we're doing so that, you know, it's not like no one like looks close enough.
Yeah.
Which is you're not given the room to make those mistakes that you should be allowed to make at that age.
That's so true.
And you know, to figure out more about yourself, you just kind of like, you know, I had the mentality of learning from other people, and I think it helped me in lots of ways, but you do have to make your own mistakes to understand yourself in the world. It just, you do. And we went through that differently, but
yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I want to dive into a topic that I'm passionate about and Taylor kind of understands, but doesn't fully. So my best friend was recently diagnosed with PCOS, and she has struggled with symptoms of it forever. Sometimes she'll get a period and then won't have it for like a year or something. And then has a lot of things. But I read about your journey, and I would love for our listeners, I kind of told Taylor, and Taylor, to just hear your journey with it, because I feel like, especially for the reproductive system of women and like our hormones and all of that stuff, it's very, not that we're not heard, but it's, in a sense, like it's very hard to diagnose, quote unquote, but that's definitely something difficult. And I know that you struggled with that for a while.
Yeah. I love talking about this because so much about PCOS is awareness.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll start by saying this is part of the health issues I was speaking of, while I was going through Pretty Little Liars, right? Okay. So when I mean it was documented, it was like, the changes that were happening to me were documented on camera. So, I, like your friend, never had a regular period ever. And I just was always told by gynecologists that I was just young. Like, don't worry, it'll regulate, I never really had normal periods. That's kind of how that started. When I turned, it's probably around 15, 16 that I started noticing a difference in just my metabolism in general. But at 17, I gained 70 pounds in a year.
Wow.
And for no reason, there was no explanation for it. Wow. And I went to so many gynecologists. I went up to over 15 gynecologists, and they all told me, one gynecologist told me to my face that I was lying, that I must be eating terribly and I must be doing everything wrong because look at you, was essentially what he said. I just wanted somebody to test my blood. I was like, I just see, this is I've never had a regular period. I feel weird. Like every time I work out, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I don't get those happy endorphins that people should get from working out. I feel physically ill when I eat things that are like actually good for me. It was the most frustrating experience because, and disheartening, because no matter what I did, no matter how well I behaved, no matter how great I treated my body, things were actually getting worse rather than better. It was very, very confusing. Mm-hmm. So after a long teething process of trying to figure out what was happening, someone recommended that I go to an endocrinologist. And I met up with this lady, and she heard me out. She heard all my things. And I told her, I was like, my mom has hyperactive thyroid, but apparently my thyroid's fine. I just was kind of throwing everything out there. And she was like, well, it sounds like you've got PCOS. We'll need to take a blood test to make sure, but let's figure this out. And I was like, what's that? I'd never heard of PCOS before, which is Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. Okay. And it's a disease. It's not curable. It can be dormant. That's at this stage, that's what they know. The most frustrating part about this is that it is fairly easy to diagnose. Right. And really what it is, it's a hormone imbalance. It's a hormone disease. And it's so easy to see because your testosterone or your estrogen will be really high. You'll have really low vitamin D levels. You'll be deficient in a lot of things. You won't have a regular period. But the catch is a lot of other things look different. So everyone has a different experience with it. Mm. It could be your period. It could be weird hair growth. It could be major gastro issues. It could be crazy cysts on your ovaries. It could be weight gain, all the other things that I mentioned with diet and exercise. But some women have all of them. Some women have a couple of them. Some women have one of them. So for instance, I never had cysts on my ovaries, which is, thank God, that's a blessing. Yeah. But I had a lot of those outward symptoms that, everyone could see. Right. And not only that, but PCOS leads to a lot of other things. PCOS can lead to ovarian cancer. It can lead to type 2 diabetes. It definitely is a huge component to infertility. And it's so sad to me that so many women have it that don't know, or so many women had it that didn't know that got cancer, or, couldn't get pregnant, or things that could be avoidable by just trying to manage it and figuring out what's going to work best for you. It's seriously detrimental to women's health. And my cousins have struggled with type 2 diabetes and cancer. And it just, to me, I always just thought about how, like, what if they had it and they just never knew? Right. If they had gotten it, if they were aware of it, maybe it wouldn't have led to that, Wow. So it's very frustrating, that it's not, it's getting better. you know, but if I mention that I have PCOS, someone will be like, oh, I have it too. And, or maybe I have that. What are those symptoms? So it's way more common than you think it is.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it does look different, you know? But yeah, I mean, actually on set, you know, this movie that I'm filming right now, a couple of women have it. They all look completely different.
Yeah.
And there's another lady that I was like, you need to go get this checked out. Because even if it's not PCOS, hormone imbalances do the wackiest things to women's bodies. And what was interesting about my circumstances, I started to kind of even out, and then I'd have a flare up and I'd gain like 20 pounds in a week.
Wow.
But it was starting to like kind of regulate a little bit. My periods never really regulated. We were trying to work on that with my endocrinologist. My husband and I decided to try and get pregnant, and we were just kind of bracing ourselves. We were like, you know, let's take the stress off. It's probably going to take us over a year anyway. We might need help, you know, let's start this process. Well, we got pregnant within the first month. So, I'll get there. That was a pleasant surprise, but it was definitely a surprise. It was a week before lockdown. It was a week before COVID
Oh my
lockdown.
gosh.
So there was a lot of changes happening, but, I had a difficult pregnancy, but it really wasn't that bad. I didn't get gestational diabetes or anything like that a lot of women do get when they have PCOS. So that was really lucky. And miraculously, Hendrix regulated my hormones.
Oh, wow.
And it happens in a very small percentage of women. But essentially my PCOS is dormant. And I'm doing everything that I need to be doing to keep it that way. And a lot of that happens to be diet.
Yeah.
Keto diet is very great. It's great for hormone imbalances. It's not good for everybody. It works great for certain things, and it works great for me. So thank goodness. I was able to find that, but, yeah, he regulated my hormones. I have regular periods for the first time in my life. A lot of those things come easier. I love working out again, which was so refreshing.
Wow.
You know, I've really, I, you know, knock on wood, hope that I never have to deal with that again. But it's been quite the journey, and I love talking about it because I just want women to know more about it. And I just feel like the louder you are about it, the more people know, the more people get checked out, the more interest there is in helping women, you know, figure it out and get better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When my best friend
that was the short answer.
No, I love that. That was amazing. When my best friend found out, she texted our like little group chat of like us 5 girls, and she was like saying, because we knew that she was kind of going to the doctors a lot, trying to figure stuff out. And she was like, okay, like finally, like I got like diagnosed with PCOS. And our other friend in the group chat was like, oh, I have that. And we were like, wait, what? You have that? Like no one had no idea
Crazy.
that she had that. And now they bond over it. But theirs is like completely different. Like one of my friends is like, she like has the hair, or she like struggles with like some hormone stuff. And my best friend, hers is like just the cyst. Like she's like the tiniest person. She's like a little ballerina, but she has like,
she deals with the period stuff, and
the period
she does
and the
have cysts too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is just so crazy how it is so different in everyone. But yeah, I think talking about it is definitely, because I mean, I learned about it in nursing school, but before nursing school, I had no clue what it is. And the more that people are talking about it, the more I feel like I've explained it to some people, and other people are like, oh, I have that. Or I've like, my friend has that. My mom has that. Like it's definitely getting talked about more. And I think it needs to be talked about more because it does present itself so differently. There's no like cookie cutter answer to it. So like we need to talk about it more, so more people are like actually getting checked. I've never been checked. Maybe I need to go get my blood work done. Yeah. Feel inspired to go.
I mean, I feel like it's a healthy thing to do anyway. Like I wish that was more normal. It's like every 6 months, go get your blood levels checked. You know, I didn't know I was iron deficient until that happened.
Wow.
And vitamin D is a big one. You can feel crazy. Actually, my dad went through that. He was like in the sun all the time. He used to bike in the mornings every morning, and then he changed jobs and it stopped, and he was inside all day. And he dramatically lost weight. He could not sleep. He was getting like crazy migraines. He was shaky. He felt like he was going to pass out. It was wild. all it was vitamin D deficiency.
Wow.
It was the weirdest thing. They got him on a high dose of vitamin D to get him back on track, and he was normal.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we need to get our blood work done. We actually have a slip, but we have it gone. We need to go.
Yeah, we do.
We need to go and do it.
Yeah. You started touching on this, and we've talked about it a couple times, but I just want to ask, becoming a mama, how has that shaped you? And I know Tay shared with me that you mentioned in an Instagram post that you're the most confident in your skin becoming a mom.
Yeah.
Could you just touch on that and what brought you to that point or realization?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like so much changes when you become a mom.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I've, my husband and I, as a couple, but also separately, have like made a huge point of not, quote unquote, losing ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I think easily you can, because it's easy to, the focus becomes your baby, and as it should in so many ways. But when you start to lose like pieces of yourself or pieces of your relationship, that's when things can kind of, get kind of crazy. So I knew that was going to be a focus for us in the beginning, but really what it is, this life-changing experience of like bringing a kid into the world from just being, from pregnancy to like actually going through labor and then trying to navigate being a parent. It's shifted a lot of things for me. And I've always been great at standing up for other people. I've never been as good for I've never been as good at standing up for myself.
Right.
And that definitely changed becoming a mom.
Wow.
I can't even quite put my finger on it. But I don't care about what people think anymore. It's like so low on the priority list.
Yeah.
And I mean that,
it's the best.
I try to be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the best way, not in the detrimental way where I'm just like, I don't give the middle finger to anybody. I'm not crazy. But it's when I need to speak up, I have no problem speaking up and advocating for myself. And that is, and he's only 2.5. It's a fairly new revelation for me, and I love it. And I always wanted to be that way, and I just never could quite get there. Yeah. But I think the journey of like the health journey, I had to get diastasis recti surgery to fix all sorts of weird stuff that was happening with me postpartum. It was really cool. I could like touch my organs. It was really fun. I was like, oh, there's a
Taylor's
an
like, I am not Googling that next.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Some quick fun things about that. So diastasis recti is basically your abs. Every woman has it. Their abs start separating to make room for the baby, and they will come back together most of the time, or almost completely. Some women that doesn't happen with, and so I had like a good size gap, and that was as close as it got. And certain exercises will bring your abs back together, but the problem is if it stops and you continue working out in that area, it can actually make it worse, and it could like cause it to stay there permanently. Yeah. And so it was like, I should probably get that fixed. I was having such chronic pain. It was insane. And so when my core came back, I was like, it was around the time where like I was feeling more like myself, postpartum. And I think it just kind of all fell into place. And I'm just really thankful for that. But yeah, I've never felt stronger. I've never felt more confident in my skin. I've never felt more confident in who I am. And it's a great feeling. And I want everyone to feel this way. It doesn't mean that there's not bad days and low days and days where you second guess yourself, and mom guilt is an insane thing and it's so real. And, but it's great to be in the place that I'm at. And maintaining it. Like I was saying, self-care, working on yourself, not just, for yourself, but for your livelihood and for your son, for your marriage, for everything. It's just like it's like a daily practice. It's like working out. You got to keep it up.
Exactly.
How long after did you have that surgery? How long do you have to wait to have that? Or
I think it's kind of different for everyone. Mine was like 8 months. 8 months after him. Yeah, I think he was around 8 months, 9 months. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the
Physical
recovery
therapy,
like for that?
all that stuff. It was okay, actually. It was better than I thought. Like the first 2 weeks are awful. You got like drains and it's really gross. You got to like empty drains and it's just really, it's not pleasant. And I felt so bad for Hudson because, he was like taking care of a baby and taking care of me, and we had 2 Great Danes. So he was doing it all. And like he like lymph what do you call those? He had to like massage me lymph nodes. Yeah, but there's like a lymphatic massage.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, a poor guy. He had a lot on his plate. But we got through it. I feel like I started feeling, able to like move around, stand up straight, feel fairly normal walking around like a month or so after.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. That's wild.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like just to like give birth and then like have to heal from birth, but then like, oh no, you gotta go back. You gotta go back in.
Yeah.
Freaking wait again. Wow. Yeah. That's wild.
It's not the reason, but it's one of the reasons that we're one and done. It's like, it's like on that list for sure. It's a component.
Okay.
So you enjoyed being an only child?
Tay's also an only child.
Did. You're also, I did. No, I didn't have any issues with it. I think also around 8 or 9, I wanted a sibling, but then I started babysitting and I was like, this is great. I get paid for it. I get to play and then I get to give back.
We have very parallel lives in that regard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband is one of 9 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Holy crap.
He's number 5. He's like directly in the middle. And so, we grew up similarly and very differently at the same time. And we always thought, 2, 4. I was on the 2, he was on the 4 side.
Okay.
And then we had Hendrix, and it was one of those things where I started feeling like, I think I just only want one. And I was like, we have time to think about that. I'm not going to say anything because I know that he really wants more than one. So give it time. Well, I didn't know that he was thinking the same thing. He thought that I really wanted more than one. So he was also like refraining from telling me.
Oh, wow.
And when we finally like really, really talked about it, it was like, oh, such a relief. Great.
Oh my gosh.
We're good.
I bet.
We're good.
That's so funny.
Jeez.
Dang. I know. I feel like you're leaning that way.
I know. I always used to just want a big family because I'm like the only one, even like out of my cousins, I'm the only one like in my age. So I always just hung out with the older ones, and then once there was younger ones, like I think I'm 10 years from my closest cousins. Yeah. So I always just was like with the adults, and then when the little kids came, I watched over the little kids. But I always just wanted like a big family. Like I was like, I want 5 kids. Because I love big families and whatnot, and then now I'm kind of
Taylor's like,
I think if I wanted to, he would be down. I mean, if I was like, let's have a child right now, he would be like, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's like, I need a moment.
You take your time.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, it's like you don't know until you're in that position.
Yeah.
You don't know until you've got one what you feel like. And I know a lot of people change their minds too, which is totally okay. We won't. But it's totally fine to give yourself that room to be like, oh, well, maybe I will only want one, but maybe we will want more. And now there's also so many different ways of going about that.
Yeah.
I think taking the pressure off the situation is so important. There's so many other things to worry about.
Yeah.
Making that final decision is not as important in the beginning,
I love that you talked about you guys just setting aside time as like husband and wife, like prioritizing that, because that's something that we always talk about, and I always say like I want to get really good at like prioritizing our time before we have a child, because I know like once the kid comes, we're both going to be so engulfed in the child, because I see us with our nephew and our friends' kids, and we're like on the child.
Yeah.
So I love that. Was that like hard for you guys to implement, or was it just like something that like came naturally?
We talked about it a lot. I mean, I feel like probably fairly well. So my big priority when we just in general first started dating was communication and affection. Like I was really big on those two. I knew I wanted it. I knew it was important. And Hudson was definitely on board with all of that. So like that was a constant thread in our relationship anyway. And I got really good advice before we had even started trying to have a baby, that as strange as it might sound, your marriage should always come before your kid. Your kid should not be your first priority. And it sounds bad. It sounds like, oh, what do you mean? That seems selfish in a way, but it is the most helpful thing, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be the person or the parent you want to be to your kid if your marriage and your relationship is not where it should be.
Yeah.
And so prioritizing each other and, every different aspect of our relationship, making that something that is important and a priority is the best thing that we've done as parents.
Yeah.
And, as he gets older and sees that we're solid and that we know how to work out our issues and that, we're doing our best to put our egos aside so that we can figure things out, and we do our best to not go to bed angry at each other. Inevitably that happens. We have the stupidest fights. They're like the pettiest stuff, which is great. I love it. And it's not often, but when it is, it's just like, really, we're talking about like where we put the trash bags. Like, this is silly.
Yeah.
But still, it is one of those things, right? Where it's like, you don't know how many days you have left. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And making that a priority, is the best thing that we've done in our marriage and as parents. And it's so much easier said than done. Yeah. There's so many moments where I'm like, I don't want to talk about that with you, like, give me some room. And it's funny too, because I kind of like, I shot myself in the foot a bit, because I made communication such a priority that when I don't want to talk about stuff, he's like,
oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah. But yeah, it's so much easier said than done, but with practice and habit, like it will, those early, that first year of having a baby, it's invaluable to communicate, because you're both changing. You're both growing and learning new things about yourself. And you don't truly know how you're going to react to situations until you're in them. And then you're in them with your partner. And if you're not talking about it, or you're not on the same page, it just makes everything more difficult. And then you add some like sleep deprivation on there, and it's just, insane.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine.
I feel like we've really been able to navigate it in a way that has really worked out for us. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful for that. And also, we've been really good at not letting outside opinions affect the way that we parent and what we do. I think that's also so hard. Everyone has like such a big opinion on what you should do, whether it's, how many kids you're going to have, if you're going to sleep train or not, if you're breastfeeding, or if you're giving formula, or, I mean, the list goes on. It's so big. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's your life, it's your family, it's your little unit. Like, you do what feels right to you.
Yeah.
And that's really, I feel like, what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's so true. Everyone's experience is like so different. As like we start to have friends that are having kids, we're really seeing it firsthand how differently like pregnancy is for everyone, but then also like after from the breastfeeding to just straight doing formula to like everything under the sun. All of our friends have done it so differently.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like comforting in a weird way. I feel like I would think that would stress me out, but I think it's kind of comforting that there like isn't a right or a wrong way to do it, because like every human is literally different. Every baby, child, infant is different.
Yes.
Every woman's body is different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of encouraging.
Yeah, for sure.
I have all the faith in you guys that if you decide to become parents, you're going to rock it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And trust your instincts, like it is, a lot of it is about trusting your instincts.
Yeah.
That's so true.
For sure. Okay, lastly, before we head into our Lemon 11, you recently launched your own podcast.
Yes.
Ooh.
Women in the Nude.
Yes.
Where did the idea come from, and what can people expect to hear when they tune in?
Yeah. I kind of always loved the idea of having a podcast, but never really like went through with it.
Yeah.
And I think the idea for Women in the Nude was kind of evolved from like realizing that I never truly sought out good female friendships in my young adult life. I had them sort of, but I was like in my teenage years, I like always had guy friends because I was like, oh, girls and drama. Like I didn't want anything to do with it. I have my best friend, Jalen, who I think you must have met earlier on, Taylor.
Okay.
And her and I, you know, our friendship has never wavered. Thank goodness for her. But aside from her, like those like girls' nights and that sort of thing, that came way later in life for me. I never had that like core group of girlfriends really. And as an adult woman, I realized how important that is. Because no matter how cool a guy is, no offense, Taylor, you know, talking about your cycle is just not going to be as, you know, it's not going to make as much sense, or it's not going to be no matter how hard you try, you can only relate to it to a certain degree. And yeah, becoming a mom and talking about all the crazy things that we go through and what we do. It's so important to have a good community of women around you and to like validate some of those feelings that you might not get elsewhere. And I also think that like the family you choose is so important, and the people that you surround yourself with is so important. And I think having that open line of communication, even if it's not someone that you physically know, is just so valuable.
So true.
And I know now as a woman, so many incredible females in my life, and from just acquaintances to really good friends, I wanted to have them on so that other women can hear that, like you were saying, Tay, every woman is different. Every like motherhood journey is different. Every woman in business journey is different. And we can all learn something from those women. And so I have everyone from a really good friend who's like an entrepreneur and a food scientist to, you know, like influencers who are just all in the psychology space and fitness space. And we got some really amazing women coming on that I'm really excited for everybody to hear. So thank you for shouting that out.
Of course. We can't wait to listen.
Some really amazing women. Just kidding. This will air probably after the episode comes out.
We can time it out. Yeah, spoiler alert. Tay is coming on Women in the Nude, and it's going to be so fun. And all we're going to do is gossip about Taylor the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Taylor.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh man.
That's so great. I had to. I'm so annoying. I had to do the hair flip in there. I felt the
I loved it.
I had to seize it.
I love the hair flip. I'm all for it.
Should we get into
next time? Tell me, we'll do it together.
Perfect. We'll time it in for your podcast episode. We'll time the hair flips.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's head into 11-11. So our 11-11 is just 11 questions that we'd love to ask people and get. Everyone's different, so everyone's answers are different, and yeah, some fun questions that we love.
If you haven't seen, I've had a dog
come
that
and
has
it's so sweet
and joined me, and she's.
I am a big
very
fan.
Difficult, but I can't say no.
Yeah.
Lady does that too in all of our podcasts. She like ends up being like on my lap,
right?
Or, like behind me. You know, yeah. They just
Oh my goodness.
It's good. I like it.
Okay, 11-11.
Heck yeah.
Number 1, Sasha. What movie or song title best describes your mental health today?
That's a great question. I'm not making fun of the question. Goodness.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. How I'm feeling today. Oh man.
We also forgot.
I don't know.
Oh, frick, we did.
We've become very bad at forgetting that.
I know. Shoot.
Is there a song or movie title about being exhausted? Because I'm exhausted this morning.
Gotta be.
I'm gonna Google songs
let's see. Yeah.
about
let's see here.
being exhausted. I'm so tired. The Beatles.
I'm so tired. The
There
Beatles.
you go. That's how I'm feeling. Yeah.
There we go.
That sounds about right.
That's a fair answer.
Exhausted. The
Yes.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Exhausted by the Foo Fighters. There we go.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got options.
Appreciate the help.
Okay.
Yeah. My mind just, I literally like blanked. It was like,
It's because you're feeling exhausted.
Because I'm feeling exhausted. Yeah. So I failed the first question.
No, it was great. It was teamwork. It was a collaborative answer.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Number 2 is, how open are you with people in your life when struggling?
Pretty open. I do feel like I can be an oversharer.
Oh, wow.
I definitely have like my go-to people.
Yeah.
I ironically, and I've said this briefly on my podcast already, but I have really been working on setting boundaries. I'm very open on my podcast and really will answer pretty much anything that you ask me. But I've been working on not oversharing when it's not necessary. I feel like like refraining from, especially when it's like frustrations with like people in my life, I'm like, I don't need to tell everybody that. I feel like I just need to like set boundaries for myself and feel like I don't owe anybody an explanation for things.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have like the opposite issue where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like rein that in a little bit.
I love that.
Sorry, just really quick before we go to number 3, this made me think of it. I love to ask only children this question because it was something that was told to me and I found it very profound, and I feel like I finally understood myself. Do you feel that you need like alone time at all? I guess you're always like working and stuff, but someone recently asked me, she has an only child. I actually used to nanny for her and she's an only child, but the mom asked me if I feel like I need alone time to process things because she's starting to see her 8-year-old need time alone to process stuff. And I was like, wait, this actually makes sense because we'll be together and Taylor like will want to be together every second of the day. And which I absolutely love. I'm very thankful that my husband loves me that much. But I do need some alone time. I do need a bath, important to her. Or I need to just sit in the other room and like just like be silent by myself, which I recently feel like that is because of being an only child, literally just playing in my room by myself or whatever. Do you think that applies? Because I know some do and some don't.
That's really funny. I haven't thought that hard about it, but the first thing that came to mind was like grocery shopping is my happy place.
Yeah.
I like do it alone. Yeah. Like maybe Hendrix will be with me every now and then. For the most part, that is my alone time and I thoroughly enjoy it. Or just like an hour of working out, that space.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's like extremely intentional, but I think you're right. Subconsciously, I'm sure that is a huge part of being an only child is like being used to being alone to some degree.
Yeah.
And as you were talking about that, I was thinking about Hendrix and how like, he wants us involved in everything. He's always like, pulling us over to play with whatever he's doing. But then every now and then it's 2 reasons. It's either he wants to poop alone and he'll like sit in the corner or he does just need to like have a little moment and he just kind of like hangs out and he'll like go into his, room or whatever and chill and play by himself for a bit. And you're right. That's probably what that is. And in lots of ways, I feel like that's really healthy.
Yeah.
I really respect people who know like when their threshold is up and they just need some time, to themselves or like you were saying, to process and kind of decompress from whatever, that day or that week, held for them. So yeah, I mean, short answer is yes, but I didn't realize it completely. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
I didn't realize it either until she asked me, and I was like, "Wait, Kimmy, this is so profound. Like, I feel like I understand myself now." Sorry, I had to ask.
It's true.
It helps.
No,
it helps. Yeah.
Okay, back to the game. Number 3.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of your morning or night routine?
Caffeine. In mornings. I really love getting Hendrix in the morning because he's just like this sweet little like soft like happy little dude in the morning always, but like there's like a special moment when he wakes up, and so when I go to work before he's up, I really miss that. And then the second thing is caffeine. I'm like, oh, which I feel like might be a little unhealthy. Might need to work on that. But yeah, definitely like your baby in the morning. And there's something so sweet about that. And it's a great way to start your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my two.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, Hudson's great too.
He's all right.
He's fine. We both look at each other. We're like, oh, we're so ready for coffee. So I think we're on the same level.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Number 4 is, how has your career impacted your well-being?
I think, as difficult as some of those moments have been, like we were talking about, I do feel like I'm a much more well-rounded person because of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's also because I like always try and be like, you are doing what you love. So many people don't get to do that, right? And all the things that I really truly complain about, other than, obviously those health struggles and all the things that we were talking about earlier are very important and are very valid. But for instance, now I'm thoroughly enjoying what I'm filming, and I'm around so many great people. And the things that I complain about are so petty, and so I call them champagne problems, right? Essentially, they're just like, they're not really things that like need to be complained about. You kind of do because it's your everyday whatever. But I think I'm way more well-rounded because of the industry. I think in general, because I'm so passionate about it. I think there'd be something missing if I didn't have it.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, really.
All right, number 5. What would you say is the most misunderstood thing about you?
I like that question. No, I guess maybe it's that's a great question. You guys, it's a great question.
I love this question.
Is
Taylor
a stumper.
hates this question.
I honestly, I hate asking people it because
this is what it does to people.
Yes, it puts people on the spot. And if you were to ask me that question, I don't know what I would say.
Right. Perception. It really is about perception. I feel like the like surfacey answer would be, I think a lot of people think about you as your character. So whatever they know you from, I think they like usually align you to what, whatever that, whatever their perception of you is.
Yeah.
As far as maybe misunderstood, I don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty much an oversharer, so take that for what you will.
Yeah. Would you say when you were going through your health stuff, there was judgment and people assuming things when they have absolutely no idea?
Yeah, if I'm going to pick a timeline, if that's it, that is 1,000% it. And I remember I actually posted a couple of things about it because I was like, I'm going to give people grace. We always say like, don't judge and don't whatever. But naturally, when you're not provided with an answer, you assume. Yeah. It's the human thing to do. So it was everything from like, is she pregnant? There all sorts of things that get thrown around. And because I didn't have an answer for it, I remember posting something that was like, I don't fucking know what's going on with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing to tell you. This is where I'm at. And it sucks that I'm not looking the way that you want me to look, but like, I can't change it. So this is what it is. And I'll update you when I know, and you kind of just have to like be okay with that, which is a really hard thing to accept.
For sure.
And there was a lot of like emotional abuse, both in what I received on social media and I think probably emotional pressure that I put on myself.
Yeah.
It's really like the not, as soon as I got an answer, it all changed.
Yeah, I imagine that was a huge,
because then it's a realignment. It's okay. It's like, now how do we fix it versus what is happening
going on, so you can
two very different things.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 6 is, what is the greatest advice you've ever received?
That's a great question. I guess the greatest advice I've ever received is it's really just to do your best to accept yourself in whatever condition that you're in. I think we're really bad at that as humans. Because I think we're always, for the most part, we have like an idea of ourselves and what we want ourselves to be, but that you're never really going to fully achieve it, in a good way. There should always be something that you're striving for, but I think we're not good at accepting ourselves the way that we are at the moment. And so that pops into my head a lot. That was good advice. Because again, with everything that I was just talking about, it's not an easy place to be, because you don't want to accept where you're at, but it is the reality. So to move forward, you kind of just gotta, you gotta like sit in it and be like, okay, this is it. Let's get better. But also like, I gotta love myself in this moment. Otherwise, it's more so for you than anybody else. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love that. And I love a lot of the parenting advice that you had gotten from people or just shared with us today. I thought some of those points were really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. Number 7. What does wellness mean to you?
Wellness to me, I think, is mainly about like taking care of yourself inside and out.
Yeah.
That's like, wellness is like making sure everything's in check as best as possible.
Yeah.
My thing has always been balance and moderation, which has been really frustrating at times when I can't achieve it. But I always try and like get back to that alignment of like, don't like constrict yourself too much, because it's just not sustainable in all aspects of life. You gotta live your life to the best of your ability. And wellness to me is like doing your best to stay there, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, that's great.
Amen
to that. Number 8 is, what is your relationship with social media, and do you think it affects your well-being?
It's a great question. I have a complicated relationship with social media. I'm much better at it now. I went through lots of phases of really hating it, or my light totally changed. Sorry about that. I think I did what a lot of people did, which was like, I loved it. Like MySpace. I guess we can go all the way back to MySpace. I thoroughly enjoyed MySpace. I loved the creative aspect of it. I did. I was a MySpace person. I did all the coding. I was really into it. And when that kind of died and it went to Facebook, I fought it for a while. And all of this was very much like, it's all close. It's like you're choosing that group. When Instagram came along and it became a part of my job, I despised it, because all of a sudden you have worldwide opinions. And Pretty Little Liars we were lucky in the way that it started getting big when Twitter started getting big. And we had this unique experience of being able to connect with people all over the world. And it was amazing. It is amazing. It's an awesome tool, but it's like, it brought so many people together, which was really special. And then you've got that double-edged sword where, you got this huge influx of people's opinions. I know, Taylor, you know that very well. And so it was complicated for me for a while, especially with all those health issues and things that I dealt with. And now I've really learned to appreciate it. And I think it really just is about monitoring yourself. Yeah. So definitely it affected my mental health in many ways. And I think now I'm on the other side of that, where it's like, I appreciate it for what it is. And I like regulate myself. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Very true. Tricky little thing. All right, number 9. What is your favorite form of self-care?
My favorite form of self-care, I guess, would be like a massage.
Yeah. Great answer.
Yeah. And I say that because, and that it could literally be like my husband giving me a massage. I hold all my stress in my body. Like I stress dream really bad. So I'll feel totally fine throughout the day. And then I'll wake up and my like shoulders are up here. I was like definitely grinding my teeth. I don't remember. Maybe I do, but I do not remember having good dreams ever.
Yep.
Ever. Everything I remember is always stress dreams. Like Hudson can like fly in his dream and do all this cool stuff. and become like aware in his dream. And I'm like, I have everything from like not being able to fit a key into a lock to like stressing about something bad that happened the week prior to like a giant nightmare. Like I don't have so I'm like those like self-care massage moments are really important for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can relate to that. I don't, which I do dream a lot. It's
oh my gosh, yesterday he freaking woke up and was like, I'm mad at you. And I was like, what did I do in your dream now?
It's always something. And it's never
You were
positive.
talking to this boy from high school, and I don't even remember what you said, but he like rolled over and he was like, why did you do that? That was that was the first thing he said. Why did you do that? And I knew immediately it was, I did something in his dream. And I was like, I am so sorry for what your imagination made me do. I deeply apologize for whatever you thought of in your dream.
I was simply just letting you know that I was going to need some hugs and kisses that morning. That's all.
I am very guilty of that. I don't feel like I really tell. I know you just said good communication, which we really do have, but I think I've learned to not tell him. Like, hey, you cheated on me in my dream.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay for it today.
Yeah. I'm going to be mean to you all day. I'm gonna
exactly.
hold it against you.
It's really hard not to do that.
It really, my dreams feel so real. Very real. And I wake up feeling whatever I just went through in that dream.
Yeah.
He's like the one that will like start screaming in the middle of the night and I have to like hit him. Like he like talks, makes
That's
sounds.
no bueno.
No
yeah.
bueno.
Yeah.
Hudson has done, Hudson had a really bad one. This was years ago. But it was really bad. I died in his dream. Which sucks. But it played out. It was I got sick, I died. And then he was trying crazy things to basically die as well. This is so dark. This is a dark moment to end on. But he became a race car driver and was just trying to live life without me. So he had the after. Yeah.
Jeez.
And so I woke up to him bawling in his sleep and I was like, what's going on? Wake up. And it was so sad. I mean, when he saw me, it was a realization that it was a dream. It was awful. It still kind of gives me the chills.
Yeah.
In that way, I'm really kind of glad I don't dream that vividly. He's died in his dream.
What?
He's had that, which they, that whole conspiracy of if you die in your dream, you're dead.
Yeah. Not true.
It didn't happen. Not true.
Wow. I haven't had that.
I haven't had. I've had the falling thing and you wake up and that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had that too. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I have the teeth one where your teeth crunch and fall out.
Oh yeah, I get that every once in a while. My Nana reads dreams. She's this sweet older Greek lady, and when stuff's going on, she'll Remy your little tail.
You're being ridiculous.
When stuff like that happens, it's it means the teeth falling out. I think is stress.
Yeah.
I think that's what
sense.
that stands for. But sometimes when something's weird, I'll be like, Nana, what does this mean?
What does this mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what question. 10?
Okay.
Maybe?
Yep,
10?
we're on 10.
Great.
2 more. Here we go.
Who has had the most positive impact on your mental health?
Honestly, Hudson.
There we go.
I think what's cool about our relationship is that we've grown together. Sometimes people are unlucky and you grow apart. Yeah. We've definitely grown together, and our personal journeys, as people, is separate from each other. We've really been able to point out each other's, I don't want to say faults because it's not faults, but it's ways of doing things that might be unhealthy or helping provide the connections of why we do the things that we do.
Yeah.
It's being someone in your life that is so intimately close to you, being gentle about saying hey, I think this is unhealthy and let's figure out why you're doing it versus taking it personally.
Yeah.
And we've been able to pull those threads, and I feel as far as my mental health, it's it's definitely him. Which thank goodness, because doing life together with somebody is it's not easy, and so if you can be that for your partner, it's so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make each other better humans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Which is also really, it's not always easy to do, to be that for your partner, especially if you feel like you're going through stuff. it's like it's a tricky thing because it's very, it's selfless. And it can be hard on you.
Yeah.
And it's complicated.
Yeah. Okay. Last one. Number 11. If you could go back to one moment in your life, what moment would that be? And what would you say to yourself?
Wow. That is a question. Wow. Oh, goodness. That's a great question. It's never about the quality of the question. It's about like my mind coming up with the answer in an appropriate amount of time.
Unfortunately, we can't Google this one.
I know. Yeah, it's a bummer. I am that person that Googles everything. I feel like, yeah, I guess it would be more so about certain moments of like soaking things in.
Yeah.
You know, like not trying to rush things.
Yeah.
Trying to think of like an actual like moment.
Yeah, but that's very true.
I do feel like it was like a coming of age thing, you know, like I was so engrossed in like my health issues and all those things happening. I wish I would have, I feel like I did a decent job of it, but still I wish I could go back and be like, wow, I was filming people being like, soak it all in.
Yeah.
There's so many things about that situation that were so great. Not just like doing what I love, not just financial security, knowing that like, you know, it was the people. It's like those people that you're surrounded with every day. I was actually just talking about that with our crew here. Our crew is so amazing. It's so nice to like be on a set and you're the new one rather than everybody trying to like get to know each other and, you know, remember names and all that stuff, right? Like that's my job versus it being an entire crew doing that. They're wonderful people. They're so great. We work so well together. And it's this weird thing that happens in our industry where it's this short, condensed period of time where you spend so much of your lives together. You get to know people so well, and then you just more than likely never see them again.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's like that carny lifestyle where it's like, man, I really, really like you as a human. And we'll do our best to stay in touch, but it will never be like this again, you know, unless we magically work together. And that's it's a weird emotional thing. And so like those moments where I'm like, soak it in. I'm like, oh, we're already in our 3rd week out of 4. How did that happen? It just goes so quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I would tell myself is just to like soak those moments in more and not like allow those like annoying daily inconveniences to take over the moment.
Yeah. Well, if I could go back in your life to one moment in time, I would go back to when those producers chose to not use you after the pilot and let you know that you're going to be just fine.
That's really sweet. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Because I don't like imagining heartbroken 11-year-old Sasha.
Yeah. It was a sad time. It was just a short moment. It was a short moment in life.
Everything,
you know what?
It's meant to be.
Right before, exactly. Yeah. Right before, so when I was like this morning when I was prepping my mics and all that stuff, do you remember when we like went behind the mountains in Valencia and we started seeing all of those like those carcasses and like skeletons from like coyotes and bunnies and stuff, and we saw the mountain lion a couple days later?
Yes. Oh my
it like
gosh.
popped into my mind about how like dangerous that was. All
that
this stuff that we were doing as kids. And we'd be like, bye, we're just gonna, you know, be up there for a couple hours.
We were very
like,
adventurous.
capture the flag.
Yeah.
We were.
Yeah, we would like discover our own land and whatnot up on those mountains. Yeah. That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
That was like so funny. It was so
all right,
funny.
babe. You got anything to close on? Did you enjoy this time with Sasha?
With the Ice Princess, I did.
Ice Princess herself.
Oh my gosh, I did.
Right. Well, Sasha, thank you so much. Everybody listening, make sure you go check out her podcast, Women in the Nude.
We'll have it linked below.
Yes, but it is everywhere you can find it. So go check it out. Sasha, we love you. Thank you so much for joining.
I appreciate it. I had so much fun. I'm so glad that this worked out.
Ooh.
Tay, I will see you very soon.
Woo! Okay, awesome. Sweet.
Wow. What a great episode. Thank you so much, Sasha.
Yes.
We appreciate your time And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Before you go.
What?
I have a challenge for everyone today.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
What?
My challenge, for us included.
Okay.
Maybe next time we'll come back and say it if we remember what we did.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll post it on our stories. I challenge everyone listening to this to do something for someone.
Something for someone.
Yes. It could be anything. I'm keeping it broad because
very broad.
It could be a little thing like a compliment.
Okay.
Go out of your way to compliment someone. Tell someone hi. Smile at them. Maybe buy the person behind you's coffee. Something going out of your way to make someone's day a little brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a challenge for us. It's a challenge for you, Lemon Drops, listening.
You heard it from Girl Tay.
You heard it here first.
Do something for someone.
Do something for someone. Something nice. I wanted to keep it broad because, everyone lives different lives. So that's, however you feel in the moment. If you feel like saying a compliment or doing something or holding the door or some action, some verb.
Okay. If you guys want a little bit more direction, because I just personally don't do well with as broad as Girl Tay made that sound, you can take what Girl Tay said, or my more specific challenge would be to either tell somebody you love them that you don't tell that often.
Yeah.
There's the people in our lives that we tell people that, all the time, but somebody that maybe would like just raise an eyebrow or just like, whoa, like that felt nice. I would say either do that, tell somebody you love them that you don't tell too often, or tell somebody out of the blue, whoever you think needs it.
Yeah.
Just tell somebody that you're thinking about them.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be any further explanation, just a text, a call, whatever. Just reach out to somebody that you wouldn't say this to often as well, and just let them know that they're on your mind and that you're thinking about them.
Do something for someone.
Do something for
someone. Make someone's day. As always, you guys can follow us at The Squeeze. Make sure you follow us and maybe give us a little rating or subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube.
Please.
Also, we always have our email, lautner.thesqueezepodcast@gmail.com, where you guys can write in questions you have for us. We have some tea time with Tay questions brewing. So if you have any of those, you can email us, or also just be sure to check our stories. We try to post it on the Squeeze Instagram account every so often. Question boxes to get questions from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope you guys have a marvelous day, and we'll see you back here next week.
We love you, and we're thinking about you. Now, go do something for someone.
Heck yeah.
Peace out.
A-Town.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.